Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Corporate Esports Association Playoffs Week 1 for StarCraft 2. Joining me here today, I have Damn Glam.
Howdy.
Not quite as attractive as the rest of our casting team, but he'll do in a pinch. How's it going today, Damn?
Sitting in traffic, ready for some StarCraft.
Well, hopefully...
That's the 7?
I know for a fact you're not sitting in traffic right now, so...
I'm waiting in the queue. That's traffic enough.
Alright, so we're going to start off here very shortly with our first match here between Red Hat Hatlings and EagleView SC2. This is a matchup of the 19 and the 14 seed, sort of looking at the bottom side of the CEA bracket right here. Winner today gets the privilege in 2 weeks when we return for week 2 of the playoffs to face off against number 3 Google Alpha Stars. Definitely a tough one looking ahead now, but for now we're here to focus on our week 1 matchup. Going into the playoffs now, it's now best of 7, as Dan Glam said earlier. So we will be playing 7 maps. Excuse the funny overlay here. I did not have time to set it up quite as nice as it was before, but we will be getting into it soon. Starting off on New Repugnancy LE, we're going to have our first match between Red Hat Zip and EagleView's DJ Rufio. Looks like it's going to be a ZVT. Getting the lobby set up right now. Should be good to go really soon. So, Damn Glam.
No, I'm really wondering about Rufio here. If he's from, Neverland, playing around with Peter Pan, or he's just DJing. I'm not sure which one there.
Yeah. Definitely interesting... Interesting names we have here on the CEA. A lot of creative folks. This is a not a professional tournament, of course. These are professionals in the other sense. They are working professionals like you and me, not StarCraft professionals. So we got a bunch of companies together and threw a little bit of money in the pot. And the winner at the end of the day, when we get to the end of the playoffs. All the money will go to the charity of that company's choice. But with that countdown, it means we are starting off hot here between Red Hat and EagleView here on New Repugnancy. Just loading in the map right here. You'll have to excuse our casting team this week. We are missing our casting MVP patch. But starting off here in the lower left corner from Red Hat, we got Zip. And in the upper right corner, coming all the way from EagleView, our blue Terran, DJ Rufio. So, very standard builds. Starting out from both players, nothing too crazy. No worker rushes. No immediate action from either side. So we could see any kind of play. We've seen a mix of play. Obviously, we've been following Red Hat throughout the season. Zip has shown a mix of some early aggression, also some macro games. DJ Rufio, we'll see what kind of build he has. Zip going ahead and putting down that natural, getting that econ going right away. As a Zerg, of course, you want to be a base ahead of your opponent, just keeping up in economy. DJ Rufio dropping that barracks, getting 1 gas, just very standard, simple opener. Actually, excuse me, dropping his 2nd gas. He already has 1 fully saturated, so we could be seeing a little bit of a tech opener here from DJ Rufio. Maybe going into mech, going into air. Maybe just wants to get stim out as fast as possible. So, spawning pool and first gas going down for Zip. Very standard opener for him. We are going to get the Reaper coming out of the barracks. The Reaper's going to give him a chance to get a lot of map vision. Just get a lot of speed, hop around, just get a little bit of map control to counter some of the vision that the Overlords that Zip has going to provide. So, Reaper about to pop out now. Going to go ahead and start working on that factory. Going to go ahead and start moving up the tech chain for our Terran. As we see the Reaper moving across, the Overlord gets a shot at him as he runs by. High ground, low ground, can't do the fist bump. but he will go ahead and get in. Queen's coming out for Zip. The Queen's really crucial to sort of beating off that Reaper aggression, especially with these cliff sides on these main bases. Very easy for that Reaper to hop in and out. Reaper's going to get in there. He's going to see what Zip's doing. Those Lings are going to be there to chase him away, though. Get him down to about half health. He's going to want to fly away, get that health back. But the Queen's out now. Those Queens will be really good at defending against that Reaper. We do see the drone coming out for Zip now. He's going to start on that third base as DJ Rufio getting started on his second, as well as the starport and the tech lab going down on that factory. Just getting a lot of tech options for DJ Rufio. A very solid all-around build from him. Speed getting close to finishing for Zip. Just patrolling around a little bit with those Lings. Getting that map vision, a little bit of map control. Going to start spread creep with that third Queen that just popped. Overlord's going to fly away. Not choosing to use the perv porch in this scenario. Those Marines, when the medevacs come out, are going to be able to shoot away at them pretty effectively. Speed now done. That's going to allow those Lings a lot of momentum to get across the map very quickly. Maybe deny that that natural expansion, but with the tank there, that tank's going to make sure those Lings can't get into the base, can't do anything funny. Zip now moving the Overlord into DJ Rufio's base. That one Marine going to try to chase him off, but it's going to take him a while to kill it. Overlord going to give Zip all the vision that he needs. Going to see everything that DJ Rufio is doing as his third finishes. Sees not a lot of units there in the Terran base. Has to make him feel really safe to get that third up. No inherent danger right away. However, going to go ahead and drop the Baneling Nest. Baneling Nest about to finish. It'll be interesting to see if we get a flood of Lings from Zip here. If he will go ahead and do a Baneling bust. Not a lot at home for DJ Rufio to defend. This could be a really scary timing, but on the other hand, Zip going ahead, going up to layer. That Reaper being sneaky, just hanging out, just going to know the timing on this third base, but with the Queen out there to defend it, won't be able to do a whole lot of damage. Just a couple of Marines and tank at home for DJ Rufio. Stim on the way. Does have a couple SCVs loaded up in Command Center. Needs to go ahead and get it to orbital and get that economy going.
They're just taking a lunch break. They're on lunch break. They're back to work now, getting their minerals. Swinging into the perf perch here just to see what's going on. Teching up just a little bit here. Stem's about halfway done. Got the reactors going down. So he's going to be pushing hard into that bio. And the Roach Warren, or hydrogen, coming down as well to take care of some of that air that he spotted out of the starport over there.
Yeah, the Zip sort of splitting his larva right now, droning pretty hard, but also putting out a lot of Lings. It's so curious, not making big use of that Baneling Nest, but as this Terran infrastructure comes into finishes, he's going to be able to ramp up that army very quickly. But if we look at our army supplies, Zip, huge advantage over DJ Rufio. That's mostly in workers, very even army count, 30 to 30, but 52 to 25 workers right now for Zip. That's going to give him such a large economic advantage. But with those mules dropping down and those high-tech units starting to roll out for the Terran, the two tanks, the Liberator there, that's going to give him the opportunity to really fight against just this low-tech army that Zip has at the moment. But Zip continuing to take map. Really good creep spread, just getting those tumors going. A really good rhythm now. But continuing to tech up, getting those upgrades, 1-1 for his ranged units, as well as those Hydra upgrades. The Marines do pick off the Perv. Overlord says no Pervs here. That's illegal on the internet. Reaper is going to notice all this creep spread, and he's going to want to do something about that, but isn't going to be able to do much. Just hang out as those Lings now. Speed and on creep, just going to move so fast, able to cover so much room. DJ Rufio starting to be concerned about his econ. Zip does have his 4th base down now, started about halfway complete, but DJ Rufio sort of maybe doing a couple of random scans. I'm not sure exactly what he's looking for there, but a lot of Marines coming out. Look at that's 4 Marines, 2 medevacs, 1-1 on his upgrades, as well as concussive shell for the Marauders. I don't believe he has any Marauders in there, but if he does, he'll have the upgrade ready. So, just starting to collect his forces now. Still really even on the army count. DJ Rufio starting to catch up in workers just a little bit, but Zip maintaining a huge economic advantage, just sitting on 1,400, 1,500 minerals. Just continuing to count up. Hopefully banking up some of that larva at home as well, so that when it does come time to build an army, he'll be able to do so very quickly. Sitting on 22 Lings, 11 Hydras. Looks like maybe he wants to do a Ling Hydra Bane composition. Can be very effective against this sort of bio-focused play from our Terran, DJ Rufio. Only 2 tanks right now. Excuse me, there's 4 tanks on the field. If he can get around, pick off those tanks, that bio is just not going to be able to do a whole lot against the Ling Bane army. But is deciding to move out now, stepping out onto the creep. Does have the Liberator there to sort of provide some cover. Is going to want to start clearing off those tumors though, because currently has an angle for a Zip to come in on both sides. Does drop the scan, needs to start clearing that tumor, start clearing those creeps, but getting really deep on the creep now. Tanks are unsieged. This would be devastating to come in. Good spread of Zerg units here. Ling's running in now with a handful of Banelings. Banelings clean up all the Marines as well as the tanks. Just an overwhelming trade there. Just goes so heavily in Zerg's favor. If he were to move in right now, DJ Rufio wouldn't have much left to defend. 28 more Lings in production. Looks like Zip really wants to leverage his advantage right now. Is moving up, sees no 3rd base from the Terran. He is going to see that wall. No tanks there to defend against these Lings. Just not a lot there. A handful of Banelings going to knock down that depot wall. 1 tank trying to do what he can, but those Hydras there are just going to pick him off. Picking off all these medevacs. Vikings, Marines, just all the Terran forces falling here. Hydra just doing so much damage. 7 to 8 workers down now, just continuing to chew away. Tank on the high ground, maybe a little difficult for our Zerg to deal with. Is going to back up. Has a win there. Taking out that natural. Just a matter of time. Went ahead, get more ahead. Going to Spire, going to Lair. Getting all of that Zerg tech transition to the end game. Just really playing it safe right here. This is the playoffs, folks. All of these maps matter. Unlike everything to this point. If you lose here, it can be permanent. So, just got to back away with those units. DJ Rufio continuing to fight, reestablishing that 2nd base. Really needs to get that econ going if he has any chance of staying in this game. He's going to put down a couple of bunkers. Those bunkers will give him opportunity to defend a little bit better, maybe against the next Zerg push, but with what Zip is gearing up for, it's just not going to be enough. Zip just commanding lead right now. 160 to 40 supply 4 times, and that is 4 times workers and army. Continuing to push out. That's his 5th base now. Probably has his natural close to mind out. Just a couple of patches there. Pretty healthy minerals at the rest of his bases, though. Just continuing to spread that creep. That creep is nearly to the enemy base now. That is, as a Terran, it has to be frightening.
That is a lot of creep.
57 creep tumors. That's a serious amount of creep right there, and just continuing to encroach on the Terran. It's going to get within tank range, in fact, these next couple of tumors. But just not much here at home to defend for DJ Rufio. It's going to take a miracle for him to hold out against this next wave. Starting Greater Spire nearly done now. Cracklings, Ultras, or excuse me, those are Those are the melee upgrades. And just starting to move in, just an overwhelming Zerg wave. So many Banglings, so many Lings, just not much here for the Terran to defend with. Takes that tank out, and there is nothing going to be stopping him.
There's the GG.
That's the GG. So game 1 goes to Red Hat. Very good game 1. Just a very safe, conservative approach from Red Hat.
Yeah, I feel like the Terran had a rough time there. Too many Zerglings to come in, not enough workers. Econ was a little low. Looked hopeful in the beginning. Good production, but just not enough minerals. And after losing that base, those workers were not eager to go out in front and party with the Zerglings at all. So we'll see how game 2 is going to go here as we start getting things set up here. Looks like we're doing Mr. Sleep, so we're going to have a ZVZ on Port Alexander. We'll get everything set up here momentarily in the next minute or two, and we'll start game 2. But a good win for Red Hat Hatlings. Zip pulling out the win. We'll see how the best of 7 goes, if they can continue on with the win streak here.
Yeah, that first map win, given Red Hat maybe a little bit of momentum, but we'll see if EagleView can tie it up, go back, take it back to 1-1, sort of halt that Red Hat momentum, or if Red Hat can continue their winning streak. It is a best of 7. You do need 4 map wins, so we do have, for our lineups this week, 4 maps. The lineups were submitted for. The final 3 maps are essentially 3 ace maps. Those lineups don't exist. Rules on the ace maps, of course, any given player on your team cannot play in more than 2 maps in a given series. So we could see any one of these players again, potentially 3 out of the 4 again, or perhaps you pull somebody up off the reserves to play 2 of the ace maps. Hard to say, but Red Hat going up 1-0 against EagleView.
As much as I like the Red Hat team, I love Game 7 matches, but it is for moving on to the finals in weeks down the road. So we'll have to see how things play out here.
Yeah, we do want to see some wins for the homeboys. And, just having a look at the standings, Red Hat coming in a little bit of an underdog, the 19 seed versus the 14 seed. Maybe not read too much into that. Kind of a short season, 8 weeks. A lot of things can happen there. There were there were a bye week for a handful of these teams. Some tough losses in there. Maybe some
definitely some tough losses along the way.
Yeah. So, just continuing to get set up now. Our lobby is formed, so we will get started here very shortly here on Port Alexander between Mr. Sleep and Lumery. It's going to be a ZVZ, so mirror match.
Mirror match.
What do you think about the ZVZ mirror match here, Damn Glam?
I don't know, man. We've been trying to break that long record of 17-minute match. So it could go long, or it could be over in 3 minutes. It's really going to come down to who's being aggressive and who's got the micro to hold it off there.
Yeah, Mr. Sleep, of course, last week, the Giant Killer taking down the Masters Terran, stealing a map for Red Hat. Unfortunately, Red Hat did drop that series. And in a 5-game set, but Mr. Sleep will be looking for what he can do this week, whether he's going to continue to keep this momentum going for Red Hat, or if Lumery can tie it up for EagleView SC2. And we're going into it now. In the upper upper left-hand corner, our red Zerg from Red Hat, Mr. Sleep. And in the lower right corner, our blue Zerg from EagleView, Lumery.
And right now it's neck and neck. Lumery's half a second ahead.
Yeah, of course, we're all playing on North American servers. I am not as familiar with EagleView as a company. I assume they're all on the East Coast, getting that sort of even ping. We have seen in past weeks a handful of players maybe trying to connect from overseas, not getting the ping that they want. But it could be unfortunate, but doesn't look like it in this case. Identical mirror matchups here. Just Mr. Sleep and Lumery just within half a second of each other. Of course, Lumery with that 350, 400 APM. A little bit wasted at the moment. Just trying to get his fingers warmed up. Keeping those hands warm for those inevitable micro battles to come. Overlord starting to fly across the map, though. Not going to cross by each other, taking slightly different paths, coming from the main into the opponent's natural. Won't be doing that Overlord fist bump, but will be racing for that perv poach. Just trying to see what the other player is doing. Scouting information and vision, so important in StarCraft. Very similar still. Looks like Lumery is actually going to get an extra drone out, while Mr. Sleep starts his Queen and Lings. Just a slight deviation there, maybe a little bit more of a style than anything, as Lumery starts on his units as well. Those first 4 Lings going to allow some very quick map vision. Just try to take map control from your opponent. Lumery gets Ling speed started maybe 3 or 4 seconds ahead of Mr. Sleep, but Mr. Sleep does also drop it. This is the epitome of ZVZ mirror match, folks. It doesn't get any more exciting than this. Lumery now deciding maybe we'll start seeing the deviation here. Lumery getting that third base going now. We'll see if Mr. Sleep wants to go for third or if he wants to ramp up into some early aggression. He will see with his Overlord there, he is going to see that third base was dropped. He's going to have a decision to make. Lumery does drop the Baneling Nest. As the Queen gets the snipe on that Overlord, that's going to supply block Lumery. Not the best scenario to be in, but a couple more Overlords on the way. He'll be able to clean that up very quickly. That Baneling Nest in front, starting to maybe form a little bit of a wall there for Lumery, while Mr. Sleep really making a wall here, getting the double Evo and the Roach Warren, putting that fat old Queen in that hole to plug it up. Ling speed about to be finished. This is the point where the Lings are most dangerous. They're going to start moving across the map very quickly, seeing what they can see. These 4 Lings from Mr. Sleep going to start chewing away at the third for Lumery. Ideally wants to get some damage down on that, maybe even get a cancel, but just not enough there to really feel threatened. Is going to start working on Mr. Sleep is going to start working on some missile upgrades, though, so it looks like maybe he's going to go into this Roach play real heavy, while Lumery still on Ling Baneling tech. Those Roaches able to suck a lot of damage from those Banelings. Mr. Sleep will know the Banelings are coming, though, as the Lings run by several times. Just doing a very good job of keeping both keeping Lumery on his side of the map, as well as keeping an eye on all the tech and units that he is producing. Just continuing to put down more gas now, while going to Lair. Lair will allow a lot of those critical upgrades for those Roaches, as well as getting into that Roach Hydra kind of composition that can be so important in the mid-game. Lumery going to morph a couple of Banelings here. Just a handful of Roaches out front for Mr. Sleep to defend. Is going to see these Banelings either force a cancel or just pick them off entirely. Lumery can't be too excited about seeing these Roaches at the front. There's a couple of Roaches confused there at the line. The Queen just acting as a bouncer. Instructed to let nobody through. Somebody should have maybe informed her to let your own Roaches through. But just a lot of Roaches on the field now for Mr. Sleep. Able to just easily deflect those Lings. Lumery not going to be able to get much done on this. Does have his Spire started, though. That Spire about 3/4 of the way done now. While Lair is finishing for Mr. Sleep. With as well as Missile Attack 1, they're going to try get a Ling run by, but that Queen not quite plugging the hole, doesn't quite get there. Those two Queens are going to start popping some of those Lings, but they will get up into the main now, and going to try to pick off that Queen. This Queen's so important for that Zerg macro. Barely able to save that Queen. That Queen with just a couple of hit points remaining, but not quite getting the damage done that he wanted. But the roaches now moving out across the field. We're going to see if Mr. Sleep can do some damage. Lumery has those 3 bases. 3 bases worth of larva, as well as going to just be able to produce so many drones. Good surround from those lings on the roaches. Going to pick most of them off. It's going to end up being a pretty even trade, but as those mutas start coming out for Lumery, the roaches are going to have to come home. Just not going to be able to do much as those mutas go completely uncontested. Mr. Sleep does respond by putting down several Spore Crawlers. Spore Crawler is going to be very effective at keeping those mutas out of his bases. And just continuing to pump out more and more roaches. Is going to need to transition into some air. Does drop his 3rd base now. That going to need that 3rd base in order to keep up on the macro. But just so many overlords popping now from Mr. Sleep. Lumery's mutas just being so annoying. A lot of free minerals there, essentially thrown away. Those roaches now moving across the map. They are not able to contest the mutas, but they will keep the mutas from attacking. So preventing that muta aggression may be just as important as actually getting any damage done. More and more mutas starting to come out on the field, though, and that's a flock of mutas. Is there a name for a flock of mutas? Is that is a gander of mutas, or
I'm just gonna go with it's a lot of mutas. Way too many mutas. And 3 queens. We'll have to see. Not looking too good on the unit count there for Mr. Sleep. 3 queens versus 15 mutas. I mean, I know you can micro, but not looking very good there. We got Lumery coming in on the 3rd, just trying to pick the queen off. Probably going to bring the hatch down there. A couple roaches popping out there. Again, that flock of mutas just flying around, having free reign. We're just waiting on the hydrogen to pop here. We got a few in production. 4. It's still going to be a tough bout. Probably going to have to wait for those to get closer to the spore. Hopefully a queen in range of the Hydra to try to help take those down.
Lings flooded now in the front, though, for Lumery now. There's going to so much pressure on Mr. Sleep. Needs to get units out. Has 6 Hydras in production. All of his queens are gone. Those roaches give up the front as Lings are just now running into the main. Going to be able to kill this queen they got low earlier. Just nothing here to defend with. Killing so many workers. 11 workers now down for Mr. Sleep. Just falling further and further behind now. And there's the GG. EagleView ties the series up 1-1.
It's an exciting match here, mirrored from the beginning, and went in Aspire versus sticking with the roach aggression that did not get across the map quite in time to take advantage of it before those mutas popped out. And they were just throwing a party. They wanted to go everywhere. And that's what they do. They fly around and wreak havoc and just have a good old time with that splash damage. So well fought from both parties there. So now is a tie up. 1 match each from EagleView versus Red Hat Hatlings.
It looks like we're maybe inching towards that actual 7-game series that we alluded to.
You know, it's always an exciting day when you get to Game 7, but still hold out hope here that we can continue on with the Red Hat winning streak. So we'll see if we can start that back here with the next match, and it looks like we're going to be on Karos Junction.
Yeah, Karos Junction between Nitrous and Panda Soul.
So we got this TVP.
TVP.
Ah, Protoss, my favorite.
Wait, what would you like to see in this TVP?
Well, as a Protoss player that cannon rushes, I'd love to see a cannon, but that's probably not going to happen today. But I'm going to see probably a standard 2-gate opening and then probably like some robo or airplay. So we'll have to see what he scouts out there and see what Nitrous is going to pull out on the Terran side.
I mean, a cannon rush would be pretty ballsy in this sort of high pressure scenario. EagleView having a little bit of momentum now going into Game 3. Maybe they feel like they can pull out maybe something a little bit cheesier.
I think it'd be wonderful to see. But we'll see what Nitrous has to do here. See if he's going to go with aggression or macro build or bio or tech.
we have seen a mix of builds out of Nitrous this season. We've seen some really heavy aggression, but probably notably in week 2 or 3 when we saw the, was it a 4 racks that he opened with? Just very heavy marine production. But we've also seen some macro games, some mech play, just a good, sort of all-around mix of builds from Nitrous. So TVP, obviously in the meta right now. Terran needs to do some damage against Protoss before that Protoss Death Ball can get built up. That late game Protoss can be so scary.
I also believe Nitrous has the longest running game. I think clocked in at over 18 minutes, I think.
Yeah, so, I mean, I would love to see a long game. That last game, of course, only going 9 minutes and 10 seconds.
I mean, I'd be happy to see Motherships versus BCs. That'd be pretty fun.
That would be pretty amazing. Those BCs give you a lot of mobility.
I mean, Warp Prism versus blinking, battle cruisers is always a fun one.
I think everybody just enjoys battle cruisers, honestly. They are a pretty fantastic unit. So, just a moment here, folks. We are waiting for... Panda Soul to get signed on here. It seems like there's maybe a little bit of a conflict of timing. Maybe expected the first couple of maps to go a little bit longer. Hoping to buy himself just a little bit of time, but we are getting the lobby set up now. We will be getting into this here shortly. Our TVP on Caro's Junction. So can you tell us anything about Caro's Junction, Damplam?
It looks like there's a shorter rush distance on this. It looks like about 38 seconds to run across the map, so that could be good for either player there, depending on what they're going. Protoss does like to... Well, actually, Pandasol's saying he's Terran. Is that the guy that's playing or no?
I do believe it is Panda Soul. I believe the lineups have him pegged as a...
well, that's interesting.
We're going to just verify this really quickly here.
This is verifying in the lobby. Panda Soul showing up as Terran. We're just verifying he did not switch races like Alex D did a couple weeks ago where he flipped races and went for the win. So it looks like Panda Soul decided he's not going to be Terran and is going to actually stick with Protoss.
Well, most importantly here, Damplam, the rules of CEA, when you submit your lineup, you submit your race as well. So if you submit as a Protoss, you need to play as a Protoss. It's just all fair, all fair in the game. If you're going to gives every team a chance to properly scout and prepare builds for their intended opponent. But with the countdown going, we will be going into game number 3 here on Caro's Junction between the Red Hat Hatlings and EagleView SC2. Loading into the map now.
Exciting time. So it looks like in the bottom right-hand corner we have Red Hat Hatlings Nitrous, and in the top left-hand corner we have... Are we doing EagleView Pandasol? Pandasol.
Now, you reckon that's he's got a panda soul, or is he maybe he's a panda soul?
Maybe he likes cooking.
Pan. He's like the soul of the pan. Maybe panda soul. Hard to say. A lot of interesting names here. Of course, with a name like Nitrous. You'd expect him, you've got to go fast.
And he is fast on that wall off there. Getting the racks up, getting the wall built. That poor little Probes. I don't know, he's going to have to work hard to get any scouting information out there.
Does drop the gateway first. No forge, unfortunately, so unlikely to see the cannon rush. Nitrous, though, spiking up over 500 APM. Got to go fast, man.
That is a lot of APM.
Living up to his name.
Well, the Protoss, that's about my APM. Was a little bit lower, so that probe shows up and he really wants to get in. He's rallied to the inside and doesn't look like he's going to get much scouting information here. So he's going to see absolutely nothing going on there.
Yeah. However, one of Nitrous's SCVs also trapped outside. Oh, wow. What do we have here?
3 more racks going down for Nitrous. It looks like he wants to build some Marines.
I think that's definitely a little bit of bio sitting there, and it looks like we have a little bit of a, I don't know, odd-shaped wall-off, I guess, but...
This particular map here, with that sort of jetted-out corner, can be awkward to wall off a little bit.
There we go. Yeah, if you throw a tank down there, you don't want a lot of buildings up there on the high ground.
Right.
Because it's really just fun to watch things get shelled.
However, trying to wall off across that little enclave does give your opponent a chance to get down to the high ground. Doesn't really give you a chance to leverage that ramp quite as much, and he's going to need that because there are going to be a lot of Marines coming his way very soon.
And that is a lot of Marines getting pushed out there.
No gas yet, even for Nitrous, so just going to get as many Marines out as possible and go, go, go. That probe still lurking around. We'll see if he gets to sniff this out. Probe sitting at natural. If he drops that, that's a large investment there. This is going to be poor for Pandasol. Does have that proxy pylon when Warp Gate finishes, so may be able to do something about that, but looks like it's time to go now for Nitrous as that pack of Marines starts moving out. We are 3 minutes into the game. That is a scary amount of Marines for someone especially who's just dropped their expansion.
Alright, so they begin their walk in about 30 seconds from now. We're going to see if that party gets moving here or not.
And more unfortunate decisions for Pandasol, deciding to drop the Twilight Council. Opting to go maybe for some mech, get some some tech, get some upgrades. Not going to help him defend against those Marines. 2 Stalkers, that's all he has at the moment. Really needs to get those sentries out. Really needs to chrono boost them. Get them out as quickly as possible. Actually cancels the sentries to go ahead and get the Warp Gates, as that Warp Gate tech has finished. A lot of Marines now, though. He will easily be able to take down this natural. No cancel yet. Dropping some shield batteries.
Let's see if we get the cancel. Yeah, he was just distracting the Marines, so he had time to get some other units built up here.
Not a complete wall. Marines are able to get on the high ground. Takes off the builder probe. Able to get those shield batteries in production finished. Going to start picking off pylons now. Yeah. All the probes are going to get pulled. So many probes dying. 6 already. 8, 9. Marines just going to do so much damage. He may be able to successfully hold here, but that's a
lot of damage.
That's a questionable amount of success.
Marines need some backup. There we go.
Continuing to march across. Critical amount of Stalkers here, but notably Pandasol down to 3 workers. 3 workers only. It's going to be a while before he's able to build anything else. Nitrous deciding to pull back home. Probably a good choice.
I'm going to go with that. It was a great exchange. For 19 Marines losing their lives, that's a lot of death.
Yeah, very good trade there from Nitrous. Able to get about twice as many minerals out of loss out of Pandasol than he took. Nitrous going ahead and dropping his expansion. He's sitting pretty right now. 21 workers to 7. Pandasol will be able to chrono out some more workers, get them going really quick, but is going to have to focus all of his resources on getting that worker count back up. Does have quite a bit of tech now, and does have those sentries and stalkers to defend at home. If Nitrous did decide to continue that aggression, probably would be successful, but again, sort of like what we saw out of Zip in Game 1, opting to get that early aggression in, and then just pull back and sort of macro behind it. Just build up this sort of unstoppable bioforce that we're starting to see put together here.
Starting on the concussive shell, and he's got some Marauders joining the ranks, which are always fun against Protoss. They can take a few hits a little bit better than the Marines, just to slow down the units. And
yeah,
it looks like Pandasol is still trying to recover from all that death and destruction that was rained down. And
back up to 12 workers, and you know what's special about 12 workers is that's what you start with.
Alright, so concussive shell finishing up here, so we should see if Nitrous is going to be moving out anytime soon here. Concussive shell's now finished. Started on +1. Looks like he's just taking the safe route and teching up, getting some units. Looks like the production is waiting here.
Halted. We're actually seeing now Pandasol starting to catch up on workers. Nitrous maybe not being as good about building SCVs, still only at 25 SCVs right now. While Pandasol continuing to chrono out those workers, he's going to quickly achieve parity in economy. But in the meanwhile, that Terran infrastructure is up and it is roaring. Has all the add-ons on the barracks, getting the starport down, has tanks coming out as well as 1-1. This is just going to be a scary composition. On the other hand, Pandasol did, with that early tech push, does have the Twilight Council ready. Doesn't have any forges, but is going to go ahead and go up into Templar. These Templar could be so crucial in his upcoming defend. If he can get storms off on those bioforces, that could be devastating.
He's got the gas tanked up there, so he can definitely get some Archons to melt some good old Marines there. So we're going to see how much longer it's going to be before Nitrous moves out here. He is getting quite the army there, so hopefully he'll move across and see if he can thwart that timing of the Templar Archives coming down. It's a lot of gas floating out there. I'm thinking that's probably a good 2 or 3 Archons that are going to get made there.
Storm starting for Pandasol, really kind of banking his life on it right now. He's going to need some clutch storms, starting to warp in those Zealots now, just saving as much gas as possible to get those Templar. With those sentries pretty high on energy. They've been around for a while. He'll be able to get a good round of force fields in, able to defend. He wants to get that forward pylon, maybe get some forward shield batteries so he can go ahead and defend. The longer the game goes, even though Nitrous may be a little slow on the worker count, does have 2 orbitals. That's a lot of mules. Just going to have a just slightly stronger economy, really. But Pandasol does have the tech that he kind of needs to defend. Storm going to be finished. Those Templars are going to need a few more seconds to get energy up for storms, but the Terran army is moving out about halfway across the map at the moment. We'll see.
He's moving them into position. He knows something's coming.
At least he's being prepared for it. That medevac, only a single medevac, so there's a lot of bio there. Is going to get the siege on the tank. I've got to start moving that one a little bit closer forward. Gets pick off on that pylon.
Stem's almost done here, about 8 seconds there, so I think he's holding off.
Those Guardian shields on those sentries wasting a little bit of energy. They're going to go down here in a second. A little bit wasted. Those Templars should be pretty close to having storms, though. The storms are going to be critical to defending here. Stems in, picks off all the Stalkers. Tanks getting good shells off on those Zealots. All the Stalkers are down. Storms coming out now. Huge storms. That's a lot of hit points for that for the medevac to heal up.
That is 1 Stalker left, so let's see if he's just going to push on in. Got two Stalkers on the high ground and 1 on the low. Dropping the scan so he's able to attack up the ramp and not lose what's left of his thing. The medevac working overtime here.
Yeah,
those poor Marines with only just barely alive. And we get the GG out from Pandasol and victory for Nitrous with the early aggression moving in there.
Yeah, really good heads-up play from Nitrous there to go ahead and get that early aggression and then pull back and sort of macro up behind it.
It's a nice conservative approach there. Starting to get a little worried seeing how long it was going late in the game, but he definitely had a large enough force. The storms did a lot of damage, but just not enough. Needed 1 extra storm for those guys to finally just die, but they held on and up the ramp they go, and that was GG for the game. So that moves us to a 2-1. We'll see if this is going to be back and forth or if we're going to go up to a 3rd win for Hatlings here in the next round. It looks like that's going to be on, let's see what map we have coming up here. It looks like that's going to be on Automation. Automaton.
You know, it's all the same.
I forget what side of the pond I'm on. There we go. So we got Vitalist from Red Hat Hatlings going to be going up against Maftar.
Maftar?
Maftar?
You reckon that's a Maphatar? Or if it's like PH, like an F, like Maftar.
I'm dyslexic, so I almost read it as Mafar, but okay.
All right.
So that's going to be a ZVT. That's going to be exciting there. So that's going to be basically kind of like the first match we had today. We'll see what play styles these two have. I think Vu's generally more of a macro player, if memory serves right.
Yeah, Vu definitely known for his sort of heavy macro. Gets that 3rd hatch down really early.
We'll see what kind of scouting our Terran opponent has on this fella. Or if Vu maybe changes it all up now. We're in the playoffs now. He pulls out the big boy builds, getting those early lings in just to throw his opponent off. Lots of mind games possible here. The more effort, the more strategy you put into this, the more you think you know your opponent, the better he can sort of psychologically play off of you.
Absolutely. So it will be exciting. Don't know what type of player Maftar is. So we'll have to sit back, wait, guess just along with everyone else.
And of course, when we get our lobby set up, we'll maybe know a little bit more about our matchup here. 2-1 now in favor of Red Hat Hatlings. If they can take this, we are guaranteed a 5th map for sure. We do need to get to 4 wins to take the series. But we'll see if Red Hat can go into the ace matches with a commanding 3-1 lead, or if EagleView can sort of break this little bit of momentum that Red Hat is building and tie it up, make the ace maps worth all the marbles.
All right, so it looks like in here, View looks like, I believe that's a diamond surround on his thing. All right, excellent. And it looks like Maftar is gold. I believe that's gold. Yes.
It looks like gold. Here in the CEA, obviously a large range of skill values, but that doesn't mean all that much. These are one-off maps. Anybody can win.
That is very true. Again, Alex D the other week flipping races to take a win. So
as well as Mr. Sleep shutting down the Masters last week. Anything can happen. Don't rule out our friend Maftar yet. However, we'll see if Maftar can slay the giant, tie it up for EagleView.
I'm always up for some fun. Maybe we'll see some proxy coming out, some fast aggression.
Yes.
I do like his macro game, so you never know. Could be some proxy work going on. Maybe something cheeky. We'll have to wait and see.
Those cheeky builds can be very effective when you are the underdog in a map. However, sometimes it's just better off to go with what you know best. Just macro hard behind it. There is the countdown. We'll be going into our map here very shortly. Excited. Game number 4 on Automaton between Red Hat Hatlings and EagleView SC2.
Starting off in the upper-ish right side, we have our red Zerg from the Red Hat Hatlings, Voodalisk. And on the right, sort of lower side, our blue Terran from EagleView, Maftar.
All right. And it looks like Vitalis's supply blocks. Looks like he did the old...
A little bit of an old school extractor trick there. Builds the extractor, builds another drone behind it, and then builds a new extract, and then cancels the extractor. Just kind of squeeze out a little bit extra supply. At this point in the evolution of the game, there's no advantage to doing that. It's just sort of it's a good way to sort of warm up your hands. Sort of get those juices flowing early on. Meanwhile, Maftar getting that gas going for himself. Going to want to get a little bit of tech going, starting his wall off. Very standard-looking Terran build here. While Vu does have his second hatch going. Again, very standard from both sides. Nothing cheeky so far. We're not seeing any proxies from either side. Vu getting his extractor down, getting the spawning pool started. Maftar deciding he's going to just slug this out the old-fashioned way. So, very standard map so far.
Let's see here.
Is moving his SCV down to the low ground. We'll see if he wants to try to expand down there. That could be, match greed for greed. If he can keep up on the economy of Voodalisk, that macro Terran play can be so scary. Maybe he has scouted his opponent a little bit, but there you go. Voodalisk, before 2 minutes, is getting his third base down almost blindly. His Overlord has not reached the natural of the Terran yet, so just going off hope now. Hasn't really scouted for any proxies, hasn't really scouted for any kind of cheesiness from the Terran, Of course, that 4 racks that we saw from Nitrous in that last game would be so scary to the Zerg right now. But just continuing to go very standard. Aside from the early CC, getting that factory down, getting a bunker down at the front now. That bunker is going to be real effective at helping hold off some aggression. Those Marines going to just micro them down a little bit until he can squeeze back into the per position there. Gonna take a minute and just kind of eyeball his surroundings. Take a minute, rest up. Speed started for Voodalisk. That third base about ready to pop. When the third base is popped, he's just going to have so much larva, so much macro advantage against his Terran opponent. Those 4 lings, just giving him that little bit of scouting and map vision now. I'm going to move across, see what he can see. That Overlord didn't get quite in as far as he maybe wanted to. I'm going to poke back out at the end. I'm going to run into that bunker though. As soon as he sees that bunker, heads back into his safety position. Doesn't want to take too much more damage, already below half health. SCV there starting on the wall, but 4 lings just going to hang out, not really doing a whole lot. If you take a look at the base here, you can actually see that cliffside on the right side of the Terran base. For this particular map, it can be so tricky. We haven't seen any Reapers out of the Terran, but any kind of drops, elevator play, up, down, it can just be so difficult to deal with. Just trying to bounce your army back and forth between your main, your natural, all the different bases. That Overlord due for a surprise if he does decide to poke his head out again, run into that Widow Mine. But Overlord on the north side, he's looking in, doesn't see much going on. Sees standard tech coming out from our Terran layer started. A lot more drones. And Evo, Baneling Nusk, Voodalisk getting all of the Zerg things. Going to just allow him to be as Zergy as possible. Hasn't got quite as much creep spread going. It's a little bit of a larger map. A little bit harder to connect your bases. Generally a little bit, sort of has some awkward alleys to kind of run across. Viking is going to fly over. It will take up this Overlord. Overlord has nowhere to run. So try to get a little bit of scouting, but he is going to explode into Gore and Viscera. Luckily not all over Maftar's SCVs. Wall finishing for Maftar now. With that Widow Mine just kind of sneakily sitting out in front. Looking at the supply now. Voodalisk maintaining a small lead in supply. Just mostly workers, 49 to 36. While Maftar actually has the army advantage, 19 to 16. Between those, that one Viking, the Widow Mine, handful of Marines. Voodalisk just not building an army at this point, it seems. Is getting some static defenses down. That Hydrogen gonna be really important to that sort of mid-game composition for Zerg. Meanwhile, Maftar just continuing to build even more bio. It seems that bio is the standard of the day. Getting stim started, has that starport with the reactor. He's going to want to start pumping out some medevacs, get that double medevac production to get all the heals on that bio force. Second base is nearly saturated now for Maftar. Viking just trying to poke around, do a little bit of damage. Queen able to save the day. That Overlord gets out with 10 hit points. Just not really the job that he signed up for. But that Viking will continue to be annoying. Overseer going to be a little bit faster. Hopefully maybe kite that Viking into the Hydras. We'll be able to save the Overseer, most importantly. Ling's continuing to run around the map. Viking is going to go ahead and go home. He's done his job. He got his Overlord kill. Just real annoying. Get his repairs and maybe a medal commendation for his efforts there. Valiant efforts against the bug menace.
Looks like the medevac's finally getting pumped out of the
large explosion. Widow Mine takes out all those Lings for free as Voodalisk just decides to park them there for a second as the mine comes out. But more and more bio now accumulating at the front for Maftar. First couple of medevacs coming out is starting to get a couple more in. And continue a lot of Marauders. This is sort of a Marauder-heavy composition we're seeing from Maftar. With Stim and one attack done for his bio. Combat shield's about 2/3 of the way done. Just continuing to sort of tech up, bulk up his forces.
Add on some more medevacs, because Marines, Marauder, medevacs. We'll see if this Viking's going to ever get repaired, or if he's just going to die to the slaughter there. The Ling's just chilling out here with the little doodad guy, having a good time. Labbot 1X, yeah.
Not entirely sure what that thing is supposed to be. Almost looks like a probe.
Yep. So he's just on a roaming around there. Didn't really see him. He's gonna poke the Lings back down. Probably just check out what's going on. See if there's anything coming his way. The answer is yes.
However, Brutalist seemingly has all of the tools to deal with this. Does have that Ling Hydra Bane army that's just so difficult for Bio to deal with, especially without tanks. Maftar opting for this sort of tankless composition, has one Widow Mine in the mix. Those Marauders intended to sort of be the beefy part of that army, but those Marauders are going to generally stand behind the Marines, and when those Banelings start rolling in, it's going to be lights out for that Bio force. It's going to have to be real hot with those pickups. However, as we talked about earlier, this map, so much potential for sort of abusing that high-low ground with the cliffside. If he can elevator his Marines back and forth, sort of get the Zerg army out of position. Of course, the Zerg army, very fast, able to bounce back and forth really quickly, but gets the scan, sees a couple of units there, is going to see those Hydras sort of defending. Just sort of a dance here, back and forth. Picks up, preparing for that Doom drop into the main. Is going to fly over. Leaves about half his units behind. Does see those spine crawlers. Spine's very effective there. Good placement from him to sort of stop the medevac elevator there, but the bulk of the Zerg forces have arrived. Those Banelings are here now. You do see some good multitasking from our Terran. Is moving those units around on the left side on the creep. Getting kind of deep onto the creep now, but not really getting a whole lot done as the Zerg army has swung back around. Those Marauders and Marines are just sort of providing some cover. Medevac's unsure whether they're supposed to go help or if they're supposed to go home. Looks like they're going to go home.
Medevac said, yeah, we should go pick those guys up. They're like, I see some Hydras out there. No, let's leave now. Not taking the express route, but just floating home gingerly. So we'll see if they get home and meet up with the rest of the army here.
Well, that third base is finished for Maptar, but if he doesn't get some map control here, surely that creep starting to about half of the map now. If he needs to establish that third base and get some economic pressure going, does have a lot of SCVs at that natural. That is 26 workers trying to mine minerals. It is not effective. He is quickly going to run out of money here. Just needs to get some damage done. Needs to kind of pull this back. The Voodalist, that strong macro, is just starting to pull so far ahead. However, Maftar sitting on a huge bank of minerals right now. 2,700 minerals. Needs to spend it, honestly. If he were to spend it, this would probably be an even ball game.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure he's got enough production facilities there. He's just pumping Marines. A couple Marauders there.
Is able to clean up those sort of scouting expeditionary force from the Zerg, but we do see maybe just throwing some supply away. Does have the high tech ready, does have Ultras, does have Spire done. We'll see what Voodalist is deciding to go into, getting that Greater Spire nearly complete. 6 Ultras on the way. Those Ultras, SC2's most huggable unit. Gonna be here to give out lots of hugs. Marines, Marauders, not really known for their huggable qualities.
Definitely not. That is a lot of Marauders, though. So it looks like they will have a little bit of meat there to take a couple hugs, but
they'll be able to take some hugs, but chitinous plating now complete for those Ultras. Those Ultras are going to get their hugs, and they don't care what you have to say about it. they will not be stopped. Just more and more Zerg bases getting dropped now. Zerg bases seemingly going down everywhere. But more and more Ultras now. Another Ultra on the way with some Corruptors. Just going to be difficult for this Zerg army or for this Terran army to deal with. But the longer this game goes on, Terran get very close to maxing here and sitting on a very comfortable bank. Does need to do some damage though, because he might be able to remax once, but that second remax is not going to be as easy. Sort of moves out on the creep, stems, and sees the army. Baneling's coming in, going to do so much damage against this Bioforce. Cleans up very nice and easy. Voodalist not losing much in that exchange, while Maptar losing a lot, losing nearly everything. Is going to try to fly home with those medevacs, but not a whole lot left here. Going to want those Widow Mines in position, get some big hits off on those Ultras. Maybe try to save it. Looks like the Zerg army is going to move into the third, though. It's going to be very efficient with his attacks here. Third gets picked up. SCV is going to run away. The handful of Corruptors are going to kind of chip away at it. Maybe have enough DPS there to knock it down before the repair. Oh, he's going to want to pull those SCVs to get the repair. Is burning now. One SCV gets pulled. There's the second. Just way too much DPS. He's going to knock that CC down. All the SCVs repairing. Just pulls all the boys. Saves it in the nick of time. Just barely. But it doesn't really... it's a small victory. But a larger loss is coming his way. With all of that Zerg forces, those Ultras, those Corruptors, just not a lot that Maptar has to deal with it. Of course, Voodalisk sort of peeling off, deciding not to engage. It is giving Maptar a chance to rebuild. Sort of has burnt through most of that bank, sitting on a lot of gas, unfortunately, but is starting to creep back up in supply. But speaking of creep,
that's a lot of creep.
Creeping across the map himself. Lots and lots of tumors.
I don't know, man. It might be equal to the number of bases he has. Going up to 7 bases. I guess he's just getting a few extras just in case. Because, what is this? 3 of them aren't even being saturated.
It is a lot of extra. There is an engagement going on the lower part of the map. Is attempting to kite. Gets a pick off on a couple of those Overseers. He's going to need to go home and make some more just to deal with these Widow Mines. But... going back to all of Voodalisk bases, of course, the larva production so important for Zerg, and as you get into this sort of macro game in late part of the game, but excuse me for a second, as the Bio attempts to engage the Ultras again, one of the Ultras getting very low, not a lot of good micro coming out, those mines are not burrowed, is going to want to help go ahead and get that mine upgrade, so they're not revealed while they are on cooldown. Maptar doing a good job there of sort of picking off the changelings, but with the Broodlords on the field, going to be very difficult. All of the mines sort of blow their load there, just a couple left. Going to waste it on the Broodlords, but there's the GG. Voodalist takes the day. Red Hat moves to 3-1. So that was a good game. I think that really... you know, until the end there, I felt that Maptar was really still in it.
Yeah, he definitely was getting a good army composition there. It looked like he was a little behind in production there to be able to spend all that money he had. But losing an army is a good way to reinvest and get things built back up. But Voodalist keeping that pressure on just long enough to really never get the third up in the game and really move out. Looking like, regular... AI work, keeping like 25, 26 SCVs mining on a base. Really more productive if you can get them out to another base. Just not able to get enough coverage to get that third up and running.
Yeah, I think maybe Voodalist being almost a little too passive there. Had a really strong economy going, but just not really doing the damage, not really leveraging his advantages that he had established. Leaving Maptar to sort of to macro up behind it himself. Of course, that the Terran macro onto base gonna be very hard to counter 7 base Zerg. Math doesn't work out very well in your favor, but
Still, very good showing from our Gold Terran there against our Diamond Zerg.
Yeah,
really goes to show anybody can win here. Wasn't quite able to pull it out, but you know, go home, practice a little bit, hit the ladder. Maybe next week.
Move up the ranks.
Exactly.
Get a little bit better every week. Practice and practice.
So that was the last of our guaranteed matches. That was map number 4. From here on out, we have 3 ace matches. Of course, Red Hat moving to map point. If they were to take one more map, they would take the entire series for all the marbles and the privilege to move on to face Google Alpha Stars. EagleView really going to want to try to pull this back, try to overcome that deficit, maybe get some momentum going in their favor, pull the reverse sweep, win these last 3 maps.
Hey, I would love to see a Game 7, but I'd also love to see Red Hat Hatlings win so they can battle it out all the way to the end.
Yeah, so it'll take us just a couple extra moments here, folks, as we do wait. Because these are not established lineup players, our 2 teams are submitting their first ace map players. So who do you think, of our players we've seen here today, who do you think we'll see facing off in our first ace match?
I'd probably go with the safe win there and either go with Vu or Zip to try to bring it home right in Game 5 there to just nip it in and move on to next week.
Nip it in the bud, yeah. Put your best player out. Both Zip and Voodalist looking very strong. Of course, that we saw a very strong build out of Nitrous. Pandasol just not ready for that. But you know, maybe on EagleView side, probably not Maftar. You know, probably not the strongest player on their team. Was playing very well. I'll give him that. Pandasol sort of got run over by the quick aggression. Probably a little bit better player than maybe we saw. And it sort of leaves Lumery and DJ Rufio. Of course, Lumery, our lone win for EagleView on the day, sort of puts him in good position to be the first ace, especially with the series on the line. DJ Rufio maybe looked a little bit, maybe wasn't quite warmed up in that first ZVZ against Zip. So it'll be interesting to see who the 2 teams select. Of course, by CEA rules, no player allowed to play more than 2 maps in one series. So if you put your team ace out in this first map and lose, you then need to rely on the remainder of the team.
So what I'm hearing is either win or let's play 7 matches today.
I would love to see 7 matches. More StarCraft, always the best kind of StarCraft, but we'll see. Of course, these ace matches are always very exciting. There's 4 matches. The lineups were submitted on Wednesday, and both teams have a chance to review replays. They have the entire vault available on CEA.gg. All of our matches, aside from seeing them cast live here, you can open up the CEA vault, see all of the matches for the entire season, as well as the playoffs when they're available. So our players get a chance to review those replays, get a sense of everybody's different styles. Some people may be more macro-oriented. Maybe some people prefer bio and sort of prepare a build against it. Gives them sort of a chance to really get into the strategy side of the game. But as we go into the ace matches, it's no strategy. This is just our best player against your best player. Anything goes.
All right, let's see here.
Well, it seems that the first set of aces has been submitted. We're going to get the reveal here any second now. We shall see. Of course, our wonderful admins on Discord, our Game Master Turing, as well as everyone else at CEA. Just going to give them a quick shout out for running a fantastic tournament here. Just really providing a really cool organization. Give everybody a chance to pretend to be SC2 professionals for a day, and it's all going to a good cause.
Hey, charity. That's the best thing ever.
Almost as good as even more StarCraft, which we're about to get into anytime.
Let's see here. Well, we're just waiting to see what the final outcome is going to be of who's playing who. Then we'll move into getting the lobby set up here in just a few moments.
Yeah, of course, the standard procedure here, both teams will submit their ace pick on Discord to an admin. The admin will then turn around and reveal it to both teams. It does allow you to avoid sort of the rock, paper, scissors. We're going to play this guy, so we're going to counter that. Avoids all the counter picks. Our maps, of course, are set up.
So our first map here will be on Year Zero. Year Zero, kind of an interesting map. Sort of has some weird, unlike some of our other maps, which sort of corner to corner, longer distances. This one's set up.
Yeah, you had the great expanse in the top on this one.
You sort of have Space Satan hanging out there in the void. As in both maps, both players do spawn in the upper corners. There is sort of a natural tendency to expand down and away from your opponent. Lots of sort of safer expansions. But they do leave you sort of open to making it very difficult to defend. You moving your army around, very easy to get out of position. Alternatively, you can start clearing some rocks on some of those paths and start to expand towards your opponent, and that gives you a better chance to defend, sort of stay in front of your bases, but does put you at much closer distance to your opponent. We do have the reveal here. It looks like it's going to be Zip versus Lumery.
Excellent.
So that should be a pretty good matchup. Zip versus Lumery, a ZVZ once more.
All right. I feel like this game may go quick. It may go fast. We're going to have to wait, see how that moves out here.
We will see, of course, our previous ZVZ, Mr. Sleep versus Lumery, nearly identical for the first, say, 5 minutes. We'll see if Zip wants to pull out something a little bit different for this one, or if Lumery also decides to change it up.
Hey, I think a good change up for the ace match is always exciting, but sticking with what you know is a good way to get the win. And Red Hat Hatlings probably not going to want to be too off the walls here, just to get the match point and enjoy the rest of Saturday. Get ready for 2 weeks from now, since next week is a holiday weekend.
Yes, next week is Memorial Day, so we will be off next week. If you tune in next Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, you won't see anything because we won't be here. However, we will possibly be back if Red Hat wins. We'll certainly be back in 2 weeks to see the match against the Goliath, Google Alpha Stars.
Yeah.
And if Red Hat loses, we'll figure something out. We'll see if we can't pick up a cast for another game. Trying to give you deliver as much StarCraft as we possibly can. So just a little bit of technical difficulties here. It seems that Zip may be having some sound issues on his end. So we're gonna turn it off, turn it back on again. Most people here are
Tech savvy.
tech savvy.
Poke it with a stick. Stick your finger and twist it around. Mm-hmm.
Blow on it.
Blow on it.
Yeah.
It's like the old Nintendo cartridges.
Absolutely.
Atari cartridges. Alright, looks like Zip's getting back in here. Let's see here. Pending.
All right. Our players are in. Our colors are set. We will be ready to go any second now. Lobby is confirming. Casters are confirmed.
I'm ready to go.
I'm excited.
I'm excited.
First match, map number 5 of our series in the playoff, CEA week number 1. It's coming at you right now.
Match point for Red Hat Hatlings, so we'll see how this goes. And EagleView see if they're able to pull this back. Because, again, going to Game 7, always exciting.
Yes. Red Hat, 3 chances to take that ace match. But starting up here in the upper right corner are Red Zerg from Red Hat. Zip. And in the upper left corner, our Blue Zerg trying to pull it back. He has 1 win so far for EagleView. That's all of them, folks. I'm going to try to make it 2. It's our Blue Zerg, Lumery. So starting out, very even so far. Once again, don't expect a lot of deviation this early in the build, but, you know, we're not seeing any kind of proxy hatch, any kind of shenanigans with a worker rush, anything too unusual. Neither player is really going to want to maybe play too far off the grid, or maybe they do. Getting those expansions down, we do see both drones in rapid succession. Zip getting his down just a tad bit faster, but both of them effectively, with this long rush distance, 50-second rush distance between the 2 bases, those couple of seconds not going to make a huge difference. Just so much time with the defender's advantage to have units out to defend with.
It may tamp down on the early aggression. You could also just see go into a long macro game, and you know, I'm always one for big giant areas. Let's just fly across, because you know, my legs get tired and I don't want to walk that far. But Zerglings, they like to run, so you never know.
Yeah, of course, Space Satan up there in the void. He's not going to tell the opponent if you send Mutalisks across, but I expect to see quite a few Overlords just patrolling that area, making sure that nothing cheeky is going on. We do see a handful of Overlords now crossing the map. Just trying to get that scouting going. A little bit of a weird placement there on the spawning pool for Zip. Those drones kind of taking the weird way around. I was going to put his gas production behind just a little bit. Not optimal for him, especially if he's trying to get up to get the gas going for speed. But with the spawning pool finished, it seems the pathing for the drones has been figured out. Has 6 lings. It's 6 lings, a little extra pair of lings compared to what you normally see, your standard sort of 4-ling opener. Maybe Zip hoping to hold a little bit of aggression. Maybe just thinks he needs those extra 2 lings to have sufficient map vision. It's a little bit larger map. We are seeing the deviation now, though, as Lumery goes ahead and drops his 3rd base. We did see him do this in game number 2 against Mr. Sleep. Got that 3rd base down early while Mr. Sleep sort of committed to a 2-base sort of push. Lumery able to hold off, defend, just long enough to sort of bulk up behind it on his own and eventually overwhelm Mr. Sleep. We'll see if Zip is able to smell out this fast expansion from Lumery in time to do something about it. Baneling Nest down for both players, with Zip opting to flood lings in exchange for Lumery's extra base. Overlords just sort of patrolling this area. A lot of room here, a lot of different paths our units could go down. It looks like Zip has actually halted his worker production. He has stopped at 23. Has a couple of workers on the way, but 8 more lings just about to pop, and drops his excuse me, that was Lumery. 16 lings in production for Zip. While Lumery gets the Roach Warren down. Both sides have speed. Zip opting to start working on those Banelings. But still, frozen at 23 workers, it looks like he is committing now. It is a long distance between those maps. Lumery has a lot of time to bulk up, to prepare its defenses, but he is going to see Overlord sitting there, sees no 3rd base, is going to know that something big has to be coming from Zip right now. We'll see what he has at home to defend against it. Those lings are going to spot the 3rd base, though, as they run through. Should be a pretty easy snipe for them if they decide to engage. 2 banelings there. We'll see if they... Ooh, huge explosion! That was devastating for Zip. 2 banelings for 8 or so lings. Not the type of trade you want to do. Zip really needed to do some damage. Maybe even can't get that hatch down. But as the roaches are coming out for Lumery now, his window for aggression may be closing. as Zip appears to be trying to transition behind this, has the Roach Warren going down, is building workers again, has caught up on workers, but in the meanwhile, Lumery just continuing to pump out roaches. Roaches are going to be so good against this Ling Bane composition from Zip, as Zip continues to warp in even more Banelings. That one Baneling gets a big hit on those 4. If he can continue getting trades like this, just Lumery winning the micro battle. Zip choosing to pull back, not getting really efficient trades on any of those Banelings. Does take a couple of units with them, but no speed yet on those Banelings, meaning those roaches might be able to run them down. Roach Warren is finished for Zip, though, so he is able to put out his own roaches. Going to go ahead and get a spore down, a spine crawler down at his front. Just try to hold, give him a little bit extra beat. Another huge explosion, just really absent-minded micro from Zip here, losing so many Lings. He really needed those Lings. Those roaches insta-give the spine crawler, and just so many more roaches available for Lumery, but just enough here maybe for Zip with the defender's advantage. That queen there, along with those handful of spawning roaches, are going to be enough to deflect Lumery as more roaches continue to flood out. Does lose 7 workers. Zip does, putting him behind on worker count once again. He had nearly caught up. As some more workers pop, he is actually now ahead, but far behind in the army. With that defender's advantage, this is such a long rush distance that if you know your enemy is coming across the map, you have so much time to prepare for it. And now, Blue looking to engage once more. Lumery has a lot of Lings in the mix this time. Gets the surround on those roaches, going to stop them from moving around. Drones are getting pulled now. Just everything has to be pulled to deal with this. Going to be so hard to defend here. The roaches from Lumery getting a good concave on Zip's roaches, doing so much damage. Another 8 workers killed. The queen goes down, as well as most of Zip's roaches. Just a handful of roaches trying to pull it out for Zip now. Meanwhile, the reinforcement roaches from the main are going to help deflect, but with another 10 workers down, that's roughly the difference in the workers at this point. Lumery with 3 bases against Zip's 2 bases, just the difference in the larva production as well as the extra mineral income could be huge. Lumery finishing roach speed now. That speed is going to be so important in these roach on roach battles. Just getting the positioning, getting in position to form that concave to get the better engagement angle. But Lumery choosing warp in Ravagers. Those Ravagers going to be so good. Just siege damage. Just give them so many opportunities for positional advantages. But Zip does have quite a few roaches here at the front, as well as more roaches spawning. Pulls all the workers now. Is going to just try to soak up as much damage as he can while his roaches siege away at the incoming forces. 13 workers down, though. Not a great trade. More roaches currently in the engagement for Zip, but as the Ling reinforcements come in, that will be GG. Lumery takes game number 5. So a small comeback for EagleView.
So that was quite the aggression out there. So I was hoping for a little bit more out of Zip on the 2 base, hoping there's going to be a little bit more there to try to defend that. But just the extra larva and supply coming out on EagleView's side there for Lumery was able to just macro up with the extra units, run in, get the surround, and start picking off all those workers, because you got to have those guys to be able to afford all the good toys called Army.
Yes, so EagleView takes game number 5. So that puts us at 3-2 in the series. And for the first time this season, Dan, we're going to do something new. We're going to game number 6.
I That's a lot of matches.
It is a lot of matches, and even more StarCraft. We might have that game number 7 yet.
We might have game number 7.
But at the moment, we first need to get through game number 6. Game number 6 will be on Cyber Forest between another pair of aces. Zip has now played his 2 matches. Lumery has played his 2 matches. So we're going to get a new set of challengers. What do you think we're going to see?
I don't know. I'm partial to Protoss, you know. We'll have to see. They kind of picked their top bets, so let's take a look here.
So, you know, Panda Soul obviously didn't really get a chance to shine. A lot of heavy aggression from Nitrous in that game number 3. Maybe goes ahead and pulls out the Protoss again. Of course, aside from that, you do have the other 2 Terrans on EagleView, DJ Rufio and Maftar. Pretty good odds of seeing a Zerg from Red Hat, though.
I'm almost thinking they might go Nitrous or Vu on that one. So that'd be either one a solid choice. Not to dismiss Mr. Sleep. Maybe they need to pull him out after that win last week and just have him come in and crush the opponent and be done with this. So
yeah,
we'll have to see.
Both could be very good picks.
That's pretty good. So we got what two Terrans and a Protoss left from the pick from off EagleView. So another Zerg player could be just what you need with some quick aggression in and out and knock it off and be done for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, Red Hat, a team known for all of their Zergs. Seeing 3 Zergs from Red Hat today. Of course, you know, name of the team. In the Zerg spirit, the Red Hat Hatlings, using the Carbot Ling, putting a little red hat on them. Definitely some, if I might say, some professional artistry there.
I'm gonna go with. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does. So it'll be just a moment here, folks, as we continue to fight against the logistics here. Just really trying to stick it to the man. In terms of who our next set of aces is going to be. Of course, going to map number 6, this is unprecedented so far in the season. None of us has sit here for 6 matches up to this point. So we're going to take a few bio breaks, and we'll be back here shortly. Stay tuned.
And we're back. We have had the reveal of our two ace match players.
And for this one, we're going with Red Hat Hatlings Viewless going against EagleView's Maftar.
That's right, folks. This is a rematch. Game number 4.
We'll see how this one goes out. See if Maftar is going to go ahead and change it up. Maybe he'll go for early aggression. Seeing how Vu loves his macro game, so maybe we'll see a change up, or maybe they both change it up and Vu pulls an aggressive build out. So we'll have to see what's going to go on here. We are going to be on Cyber Forest for this match here, and we're just getting the lobby finished up here and buckling everyone up into their seats and making sure they're ready to take off on this last match here. Hopefully the last match, maybe we'll get a Game 7. We'll have to see how this one goes.
That's right. Of course, Vudalisk pulling out the Game 4 win against Maftar, but Maftar looking for a little revenge here on Cyber Forest. Countdown has started. We're going to be getting into this game just shortly. This is game number 6 between Red Hat Hatlings and EagleView SC2.
And in the top left-hand corner, we're going to have Red Hat Hatlings Viewless. And down in the bottom right corner, we're going to have EagleView's Maftar. So we'll have to see how this progresses here. Probably no shenanigans in the first minute here.
Yeah, so probably, with the series on the line here, probably going to see just some very safe play from both players. Of course, Vudalisk not known for any kind of aggression, just a very safe, conservative player anyway. Just going to probably want to stick to what he knows, and try to win the game. Has to be feeling really confident after that Game 4 win against Maftar. Another ZBT. So
well, we'll see if we get any fast aggression out of Maftar to see if he wants to try to end it off quickly.
Yeah, Maftar looking pretty good in that last map, map number 4. Maybe make a few corrections, clean up some of the mistakes, get his production going, not flip as much minerals, getting that third established a little bit quicker. He could very easily contest Vudalisk here and try to get that revenge map. On the other hand, maybe he wants to do something entirely different. Of course, taking that loss, maybe he has a different build in mind.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what's going to go on here. See quite a few minerals. This guy's probably going to finish up his work and mosey on down the ramp and just keep on building stuff, because that's what SCVs are good for. Hard, diligent workers. And here we go. He's got the 400 minerals. It looks like he went for the orbital first, and let's see, another 400, and drops the command center.
Timing on that command center a little bit behind the natural for the Zerg, but that's to be expected. A little bit more expensive. Just a little bit sort of a different standard meta build. But Vudalisk's Overlord is going to be in position. And on cue, as usual, Vudalisk has his third base down already. Sort of blindly going with that 3-base opener. Sort of hoping and praying for no aggression from his Terran opponent. But making the good call, making the correct call once again. Doesn't have vision on that Overlord. Overlord in his perv perch up there, able to just see everything the Terran is doing in his natural, all natural. And first 2 links for Vu coming across the map now. Speed has been started, about a quarter of the way done. Is starting to get some of the creep tumors out. This creep tumor is going to be really important for protecting his bases. Second and third base really far apart. He's going to want to make sure to go ahead and get them put together so he can get his army moving around a little bit faster. A little bit better positioning. Maftar certainly only sitting on a single barracks. He's not entirely sure what he wants to transition into yet. Deciding to put the bunker down first. Sitting on a lot of money. 500 minerals, 400 gas. Has a sort of a lot of options. Needs to choose one.
Looks like he's just trying to wall off, probably just trying to get some tech build up and go, and that plays right into Vu's build style of hey, you don't mess with me, I won't mess with you for the first 5 or 6 minutes, and we'll just see who's got the best army going on there at the end.
Yes, but unfortunately...
Let's see if the bunker gets loaded up here, because, you know, those work a lot better when there's Marines inside.
Yes, they do. Getting that engineering bay finished to complete the wall there. We'll see if he makes use of that engineering bay, aside to say maybe build a turret.
Yeah, poor SCV just couldn't get back in, so he's hiding up in the third.
Does have a factory about to finish. It's going to give him some more options, but just not a lot of infrastructure. The Terran starting to float a lot of money. It looks like he may be making the same mistakes that he did in that first game. Be real unfortunate. Falling behind in supply has a really good economy going at the moment, but for a Terran, being behind one base, being behind only 7 workers, with those mules is going to have a pretty good economy behind it, but just not able to spend that money efficiently. Does have the starport going down, getting the first attack upgrade with some widow mines, so it looks like we are going to see very similar style that we saw in the first game from Maptar.
Just defending the ramp there make things a little bit tougher for those Lings when they try to run in, so you definitely do not want to do a full A move on that one, or they will go splat.
Yeah. Starting to get those widow mines out now. Those widow mines just providing that sort of high DPS bump for our Terran bulk. But is going to want to get some more barracks down or factories or something, because has a lot of money that he's not spending. Hasn't even gotten his extra 2 gases yet. Those barracks now on cue, proving the casters know nothing, myself at least, is now transitioning that factory over to the reactor. Start double pumping those widow mines possibly. Viking being really annoying. He's going to take out that Overlord.
Yeah, it goes splat. So it looks like the only kills on the board so far are on Mathar's side. So
yeah, and with that Overlord kill, actually, it does supply block Voodalist just momentarily. Does have 4 Overlords in production, so it's not going to be a problem. But small victories here, that's what Maptar needs to build on. Get a bunch of small victories under his belt, and eventually build towards a large victory in the end.
Yeah. Production's still looking a little iffy there. He's swapping some stuff out here and there, so looks like he's going to be going into that Marauder play again, same as before, dropping down the reactor to get the medevacs out.
Yeah.
So we'll just see how that moves along there, if there's going to be any early aggression or some drops there. Vu's on top of the creep spread, getting out to about the midpoint here, and it's got his 4th underway. And it looks like this poor Viking is going to be the first blood out there for Vu this game.
Yeah, so far this map looking nearly identical to our map 4 matchup. Very interesting kind of SimCity there with all the supply depots. Kind of doubling up that wall just in case, but Vu opting for the Baneling Hydra against the Marine Marauder Widow Mine, the MMM as it were, MMMM when the medevacs come out of the Terran. That didn't work out so well for Maptar in the first game, and much like the first game, floating lots of money. 2,500 minerals now for Maptar.
Yeah, it's going to need to get those get some more racks down or get some more factories down. He's going to need something to use that money on. It's better to build the army and then keep on expanding. The medevacs are out. Marauders are ready to go.
And despite the bank, you do see considerable income advantage for Voodalisk, but also spending that money. Sitting on 4 bases now, just doubling the workers, slightly behind on army actually. It would be to Maptar's advantage if he were to sort of move out, try to get some damage done now, while he still has that army advantage. With those medevacs coming out, maybe going to wait for the second round of medevacs, go in for a drop with 4 medevacs full of Marine Marauder. That would be analog to what we saw in the first map.
Stem just finished up, so that'd be a great time to go out and maybe apply a little pressure down here on Vu, trying to get his 5th, so starting to get easy to find bases to attack.
Yes, those medevacs allow this sort of bioforce, very mobile Terran army. Pneumatized carapace done. Those overlords got real fast all of a hurry. Very mobile composition from Terran. However, also a very mobile composition from our Zerg with that Ling Bang Hydra. Doesn't have any Hydras, or has a handful of Hydras on the field, but building 30 Lings. It looks like Vu might be ready to engage. Did drop the Spire, did drop the Ultralisk, tech.
Is that ventral sacks we see?
Oh. We're going to see a little small Baneling drop here.
So, we're going to have a little bit of action going on. He's moving out, so...
However, as those Banelings are going to get dropped into the natural, hasn't caught on yet. This is going to be a lot of damage. This could be...
11?
11 kills for 3 Banelings. That's a pretty good trade.
Bad.
He's going to want to go pull that Overlord away.
He's pulling the whole army back. He's afraid. What was in my mineral line? What did I miss?
Yes. Baneling drops, not super common these days. Those Marauder Concussor Shields proving very important, keeping those Banelings away. But fixing to step out on the creep now isn't going to want to engage. That choke is just deadly. He could choose to open that choke up a little bit, destroy those rocks, but just getting those Widow Mines burrowed. Surprised not to see the Drilling Claw upgrade for the Widow Mines. Able to burrow just a little bit faster, stay hidden while recharging. But deep on the creep now, he's going to retreat into this choke. Use the choke to his advantage as those Widow Mines go off. Gets good shot on a big clump of Lings, but the majority of the Zerg army has pulled back. Looks like we're going to get another round of Baneling drops. This just being so annoying
Couple
here.
Marines there.
But does pop. The Overlord only gets 1 Baneling down, not nearly as much damage as the first round. But in the grand scheme of things, Maftar only sitting on 2 base. That hit to his economy is brutal. Meanwhile, the Ultra is starting to roll out for Voodalisk. Those Widow Mines cleaning up a handful of Lings, but just not much army here for Maftar, and not a lot of tech either. Would like to see some Liberators come out, maybe some Ghosts, something to deal with those Ultras. Once again, this game is looking nearly identical to our previous one.
I have to agree. It looks like we're just opening up some pathways there, so he's able to get moved around a little bit easier. Let's see how he's going to engage in here. Mathar just pulling back.
Yeah, he is losing some of those mines a little bit sacrificially. Once they pop, of course, they are revealed to the enemy. Several Overseers on the board as well, but does take down that first Ultralisk, but 4 more behind this wall of Hydras. Hydras just doing so much damage. Maftar does have a really solid wall there. It just doesn't have much of a follow-up. Continuing to pump out that Marine Marauder force. Meanwhile, he's just going to get hugged alive by all those Ultras. Would like to see Vu maybe move those Ultras to the front. But, micro less important right now with such a large macro advantage. Is continuing to kite those Ultralisks, cleaning up some of the Lings, just doing what he can. Just Maftar fighting. He's fighting hard. Never give up, never surrender, even when the Zerg swarm is barreling down on you. But taking lots of hugs now. That Bioforce looking kind of weak. Those medevacs running low on energy, just struggling to catch up, try to heal them up. Is going to get one of those Ultras down before they get caught up, as a handful of mutas now fly into the main. Just going to wreck all of Maftar's production infrastructure. 2 Liberators holding the choke at the front, but these mutas are just going uncontested, killing several workers now, shutting down the workers on the missile turrets. He's going to just go ahead and fly out. Knows that he has a large advantage here. Continuing to knock down workers. 6 workers, 7 workers down now. Maftar scans the field, sees all the bases, and calls the GG.
And there we go. That was match points and no game number 7 today. So Vu pulling out the win for Red Hat Hatlings against Methar. Trying to do the best. Micro those Marines, those Marauders, stutter stepping all the way back. Trying to take down the Ultras. That's some tough shooting all day long. Those guys definitely earned their paycheck. Fortunately, they did not get to spend it at the end of the day.
That's right. That Bioforce just not enough from Maptar. Once again, looking very good. I'd say looks a lot better than his gold border sort of suggests. Very strong player from EagleView. But neither player opting to make any changes for the rematch, and ultimately ends up going the same way as our game number 4, with the victory going to Voodalisk and the series going to Red Hat.
So congratulations, Red Hat Hatlings. Going to be back in 2 weeks after taking a well-deserved holiday next week for Memorial Day. Then we'll be back against the Google Alpha Stars.
Google Alpha Stars, our number 3 seed in the tournament. That'll be exciting. That'll be some real StarCraft, folks. We'll see what Red Hat can pull together if they can pull out that upset.
I feel like they may have a little bit of time to practice between now and then. I vote they get the other team drunk and then get them to play.
That is one strategy. Of course, nothing in the rules I've read suggests you can't do that.
That would be exciting.
Of course, hopefully they don't celebrate too much. Go enjoy responsibly, Red Hat fellas, and then get back into the office on Monday. Get some practice in, and get ready for Google in 2 weeks. So that'll wrap it up for us here on the stream. I am Eagle Searcher.
And I'm Damn Glam.
And we will see you all next time. GG.